There's a bunch of different kinds of applications which customers contact an optical engineering company about. And one of the more common ones over the past 15 or 20 years has been designing optical systems around the smartphone. And people look at a smartphone, they say it's got this camera on there, it's got this great processor, it's connected to the web. Maybe they could use the smartphone to make some kind of optical medical device or some kind of scientific equipment. And we have done projects like that, and some of them have worked somewhat. But generally, I think it's a bad idea. And there's a couple of reasons for that. But the main one is that a lot of the products that we are working on, the people who are developing them would like them to have a long lifetime. If you're developing a medical device, people try to develop a medical device where the parts and components are going to last for 8 years, meaning you'll be able to keep manufacturing the same design. You won't have to keep changing your design. But a smartphone, these things change constantly. There's new ones released by different suppliers every year, sometimes more than every year. And some years, Android phones by Google are big, and Apple is of course big. LG had a phase where they were selling a lot of phones, and now they don't. Samsung sells a lot of phones. There's Chinese manufacturers of phones. Every one of those phones has a different camera, or has some differences, and also every one of them, those phones, has a different mechanical size. So what you run into is you can design a great product, something to look at skin moles, or an otoscope, which we designed for a company called Cellscope. But as soon as you've designed that product and you've got it locked down and it's working, they come out with another smartphone. And so what that means is that you're going to have to redesign something. And it might just be the case that holds the lens, but if they've made a big update to the camera itself, you might have to make changes to the lens that you just spent a year designing. So the problem with trying to create some kind of other scientific instrument or some kind of medical device around a smartphone is just that the cycle of how often those products are made is not conducive to designing a product that you want to have last for 5 years. And there have been companies that have had some success. This company called Moment Lenses, they're a real market leader. But if you just look at their website, they've got dozens of different cases, and how many should they keep in inventory of each particular case? They've got, 39 different cases here for 39 different smartphones. So somebody had to go and redesign their case to make their camera work. And that's exhausting, it's expensive, and ultimately I think it doesn't work. They did design it in a way that the lenses themselves, at least it appears, are going to be compatible with multiple lenses. But I'm sure that there is a camera that it was designed for and others that it works with but isn't exactly optimized for. There are exceptions to this rule. We have had some customers have some success at designing a product around a smartphone, but if you're at the early stages of product development and you're thinking about using a smartphone as a baseline for your product, I'd encourage you to just rethink the architecture. You can probably find a camera that's going to have a long shelf life. You can find a processor that have a long shelf life, and just build a discrete system around that. Build a system that maybe talks to a smartphone but isn't mechanically fixed to the smartphone.